Hello viewers, we are going to discuss recent visit of Chinese President Xi Jinping to the Russia in the last month and what is its implication for India. It is a very historic and international event. Xi Jinping visit to Moscow. You know, right now in international order, a lot of challenges emerged right now after the Ukraine crisis. Pandemic and Ukraine crisis, this is the time tested. Why this message is so important, we are going to review and what is the implication for the India. Let's see what is the factors who influence the international order, Asian order, Chinese-led international order, or let's say the re-emergence of Russia in the world politics, international relations. We know India is also a leading emerging power in the world politics. So it is the very important to know the axis between China and Russia, Russia and India, as well as India-China relations. What is the impacts there? That's important. That is the important for international relations to the world politics. If you look at this flag, that symbolize the relations between India, Russia, and the China. We know from the global south, India, China, and Russia have a joint association within the BRICS as Shanghai cooperations, but there is also some point of convergence, some of differences is there between the India-China relations. Russia is India's time-tested friends. So look at this picture, this cartoon. It's expressed many things, a lot of things. The one side, President Putin in the middle side. The second is the Indian Prime Minister, or then the other side, Russian Chinese Prime Minister. The President is there. So India has a strategic and defense partner with the Russia, but China and Russia has a strategic and global partnership that have a lot of impact on India's Russia relations. It's showing the defense selling the defense equipments to the India as well as China. Look at this Russian federations, the post 91 or before the look at 1991. Why this map is important? Geographical importance of Central Asia, Eurasia, the border of European Unions, India sharing border with the India, China, and as well as the China and Russia. China and Russia sharing the borders along with the Central Asian republics, but India also sharing border with the China. We can analyze these situations, especially in the dynamics of changing dynamics of security, economic, and ideology. If you look at how these relations have an impact, greater significant impacts on India-China relations, India-Russia relations, or whatever the emerging new world order in the world politics, international society. Just look at the security dynamics, economic cooperations, and other multidimensional, multifaceted cooperation between India, Russia, China, India, Russia, India, China, US, Japan, India, Japan, US, and India. Last 7 years or post 9/11, after the US started global war on terrorism in Afghanistan. How this relation is impact for the global society, global economy, and global politics. You know, India is already associated with the Quad and the many more alliance defense partner with the United States and Japan is there. But there is a trade war between US and China, historic rivalry between Russia and US. Japan is also a strategic partner, sharing partners with India, sharing the democratic values. But Japan and China is well known enemy. There is a lot of border dispute like India. So all complexities of these relations, balancing the Asian powers, the relations in the perspective of realisms, neoliberalisms, and many more things there. The security dynamics, threats, military potentials, nature of the cooperation, resources, market, capital, role of state in society and economy. It's matter for 21st century. It's also matter for in the era of multilateralism, era of globalizations. Chinese media, one of the leading paper, just marked this recent visit of Russia and China, like what kind of the symbolization through this stick and the flags here, association between Russia and China. So this is the picture where President Xi Jinping met Russian President Putin in Moscow. The picture itself have a lot of diplomatic message, political message to the world community. How they are giving message to the Western alliance in despite of the facts ongoing war in Ukraine, border conflict with India, many more things in Hong Kong, Taiwan, and many more issues there. So this is the message for Western alliance and others. The relations degree of cooperation between China and Russia. If you look at the recent visits, whatever the outcomes there, it is the Chinese President Xi Jinping's who just reaffirmation of the partnership between the two countries remains differences over the Ukraine and absence of friends, friendship without limit. That is the word is used in the joint statement in the context of China and Russia relations. Chinese presidents also did the first visit after the Ukraine crisis in the March 20th. So a lot of impact, lot of global think tanks, other actors of the international society, the watchings, monitoring the what will be the impact, what is the outcomes. So this is the outcomes of the historic documents signed between the two countries, two neighbors, especially Russia and China. Lot of issues was discussed, especially the comprehensive partnership and strategic interactions, along with deepening Russian-Chinese cooperation in international arena. Because China supporting Russian view on Ukraine. This picture, this cartoon also showing that the post-Cold War, how the dragon friendship with the polar bear, that is a symbol of the China and the Russia as well as the post-Soviet here. So sometimes it like it is fighting on the same table, the same side of the story of the international relations. But let's see how it comes, what happens after 10 years or 20 years. If you look at the historic relations between Russia and China, especially during the Soviet times, the Enlai General Russian Soviet ambassador to the China celebrate after Sino-Soviet treaty exchange for approval in 38 September 1950s, just after the Second World War or the beginning of the new Cold War after the Second World War. Then these pictures showing that how the leaders from the both sides celebrated intact their friendship during the Cold War. There is a lot of treaties signed between the Mao, many more than Stalin, Lenin's, many more the leaders from the Russian side and as well as the Chinese side premiers is there. So China and the Soviet Unions, they matters, they say, up to the now principal and fundamental experience the Chinese people have gained its twofold. One is externally unite in a common struggle with those nations of the world which treat us equals and unite with the people of all countries. Second side is there, the people's democracy with the proletariat and the broad masses of the people in the all other countries and form an international united front. Victory is possible even without international help. In each of the imperialisms exist, it is the impossible for genuine people's revolutions to win victory in any country without various forms of help from the international revolutionary forces. So this was the message during the Cold War, the alliance between Russia, Soviet Union, and China. But if we look at the border links between post-Soviet space and the China. They are sharing the borders here. Russian Far East, that is very close to the Chinese border. If you look at Sino-Russian alliances, especially in the Eurasians, geopolitical alignment, geoeconomic space in Eurasia. It's the emerging new space for geopolitics, geoeconomics in the 21st century, where two dominant players is there. One is the China and second is the Russia. India is also Germany and others. Iran is also a part of the Eurasian geopolitics, but mainly the focus two dominant players, two nuclear powers, two that is the member of the Security Council, Russia and China. But Russian forest, it is the yuan expansion in their Russian forest borders, Far East space. It is the Chinese currency, financial institutions expanding space in Russian Far East, especially the border side of China. If you look at this picture, what about the geographical conditions, how China's strategic rear areas, supply routes, northern one is the Central Asia, then the Myanmar, how linked to each other from Russia, post-Soviet space to the neighboring countries of India. This is the Russian Federations, especially Russia and its neighbor countries, Central Asia, and then Belarus, Chechnya, many more countries are there. Armenia. It's showing the geographical conditions of the Russian Federations today, there and along with the Russia-Ukraine crisis right now. If we look at what about the economic status of the Russia, the post 1991, and in the or we can say it is the President Putin's Russia after the 2000s, how Russia growing reclaim its legacy in international relations, re-emergence as the leading power in the global politics. Mineral resources, gas, oil, diamonds, platinums, economic, many more things is there. The second side is the Russian borders, the European Unions. There are a lot of challenges, lot of confrontation for Russia and European Union due to the Ukraine crisis, NATO membership, many more things there, WTO, and many more things there. If we come to the Chinese history, Mao Zedong proclaims the founding of the People Republic of China, that is called the PRC, which is the foundation stone for New China, that is the People Republic of China after the Cultural Revolution in 1949, the Communist Party of China. They celebrated it is like the revolutionary emergence of the China in the world society. If you look at the Chinese foreign policy, why this is important today? What is the hidden agenda of the China today? Why China expanded its border, its ocean expansions, Greenland expansions, not in the bordering of India as well as the Indian Oceans, Pacific Oceans, and Eurasian land. One of the quotations for Napoleon Bonaparte is that their lies are the sleeping giant. Let him sleep, for when he wakes, he will shake the world. Officially, China claim its policy is foreign policy is for the peace, but we know the what about the hidden agenda? It is the expansionist. It is the nature. It is not a democratic society. Whatever the saying, the China on the record, he is doing the just opposite to the written documents. China independence, sovereignty, territorial integrity. We know already China illegal occupied Tibet. So that is the Chinese grand strategy. How to dominate in Asian space as well as the Eurasian space. If somebody expose the whatever the intentions of the China today, this pictures itself prove that Singapore to Philippines Japan, now South Korea, many more things. It is the strategy for Asian dominance. Influence the economic sphere of influence in a strategic view as well as the economic view, the geopolitics there. So, if you look at Chinese grand strategy in the modern era, hybrid, there is a theoretical practices, theoretical model, the agenda of foreign policy of the China, hybrid, weak, strong strategy, a strong state effort through male and pole means weak states, high level of diplomatic balances and maneuvers. These ideas expose the Chinese expansionist policy in the hidden agenda, or whatever we say, the sphere of the Chinese foreign policy. The geopolitics of climate and security in the Indo-Pacific, it's matter for US also, India, Japan, South Korea, Australia, many more countries it is important today, Indo-Pacific. It was the Asian Pacific earlier, but whatever the Americans view, the Indo-Pacific regions look at the geographical overview of the Indo-Pacific regions. That's matter for China rise, that's matter for American influence, and also the security threat of India, maritime security. If you look at Chinese-led investment project, especially Belt and Road initiatives, that is the very crucial project for Chinese economic sphere of influence. It is the strategy for infrastructure investment, but really it is the strategy for influence their specific economic sphere of influence across the Asia. Prism through the which the view BRI, Belt Road, Belt Road initiatives, the Chinese Communist Party, whatever the Chinese core interests, internal and external. One is the CCP, security, energy security and supply routes, development, territorial integrity, reunification, sovereignty. This is the internal part of the BRI. But second part, the Chinese dreams of the Asia, returning to China historical greatness, foreign powers, century of humiliations, gaining hegemony in the Asia Pacific regions. If you look at the Belt Road initiatives in the South and Southeast Asians, almost all countries, almost all neighboring countries, they already offered, they have a economic cooperation agreement, a strategic agreement with the China, including Pakistan, Sri Lanka. They are moving closely, aligned and dependent on the China. China-Pakistan economic corridor, that is the one of the uh, major project for China in the neighbor of India. Whatever the space used by the China economic corridor, it is the illegal. Because if you look at the Gilgit and Baltistan, India, it is the integral part of the Kashmir. Whatever the illegal occupied, Pak occupied Kashmir. So it is the challenge to the Indian sovereignty. So we have to take care about India already opposed China-Pakistan economic corridor. Second side of the border of Eurasians, it is the European Union. Complex relations, the functions side by side. China is not a democratic country. So we know that one party system is there, many more things. If we go through the strategic implications for India, how this is the important, what is the grand strategy, how India going to tackle, how to challenge the Chinese expansionist policy, as well as the investment infrastructure project under the BRI that is also challenge the sovereignty of India. Because we already have a border dispute, land territory dispute with the China. The grand strategy, look at the three factors that determine that implication for India's foreign policy as well as the India future of India-China relations. It also implication for Russia-China relations. Geostrategic environment, historical experience. We have some bad experience with China in the last 60, 65 years. We cannot forget 1962. We cannot forget the supreme sacrifice of the Indian soldiers in Galwan bloodbath. If you look at the Chinese perspective, that is very dangerous for strategic implication for the India. This the Chinese heartland. How China is going to occupy a space in the neighboring countries of India. Chinese periphery. It clearly shows the intention of the China in the future plan how to constrain India. What is the strategic implication for the Indian defense policy? Lot of current disputes is there. Russia, China, as well as the India-China relations, as also the China-Japan is also there. If you look at Russian borders west of Mongolia, there is some disputes, yes, but with the India and Aksai Chin, McMahon lines, Arunachal Pradesh, yesterday Chinese claims renaming the there is a news for the international media, Chinese reclaiming illegally renaming the some of the cities of Arunachals. Whatever their claim to the Arunachal, it is the totally unjustified. Arunachal is the integral part of the India. We can understand the intention of the China because it already illegal occupied one of the sovereign independent countries, the Tibet. South China dispute is there. Japan over the Senkaku Taiwan. This territorial and island dispute with the neighboring countries, especially Russia, Japan, and the India, three major powers with the China in the current scenario. So, if you go through the direct implication for the India from the Russian-China joint statement, it is clearly mentioned here. India already part of the Quad and Indo-Pacific says Chinese say it is the new beginning of the new Cold War strategy of the Americans' hegemony. But India already rejected. We share the common interest in the world society. India and US are sharing the democratic values. Whatever the claiming or blaming the Chinese here, the NATO continued strengthening the military security ties with the Asia Pacific. We can say the regional peace and stability. Two sides pointed out the United States adhere the Cold War mentality and purpose the Indo-Pacific strategy. They blaming the US, India also, but we know that in reality it is not the counterbalance of the China. Indian Ocean and Pacific Oceans security factor is important for Indian national interest. But in the practical, if we come to the India-China trade relations, investment relations, after the year Galwan bloodbath, China again India's biggest trading partner, unfortunately. If you look at, there is a lot of trade deficit with the China that have the security implication for the India. Trade imbalance. This is the locations where China claims challenge to the Indian sovereignty. Some part is also the Pak occupied Kashmir, illegal Pak occupied Kashmir already that hand over to the China. Siachen is there. So this is the border dispute with the India and China after the Galwan. If you go through the strategic implications, Russia, India, China, how the cooperation, competitions, loss, and the profit, capacity, comparative, super significant mutual interest, that's matter. Cooperation, competition, and conflict. Decisive conflict, limited conflict, that's decide the China Russia relations as well as the China India relations and the whatever the different strategic partners with the Russia. This is the pictures earlier where the president of China and Russia as well as the Indian prime ministers enjoying the happy moments during the event. But look at the right now We already focus India-Russia strategic partnership that is the time tested since 1971 during the Cold War and the post-Cold War. In Indian increasing importance of Indian Ocean's strategic locations of the Sri Lanka, that's matter. But China is already planning to influence these regions for their expansionist policy. So if we look at the plan and strategy of 1980s to 2050, what is the China is claiming and whatever the China is right now going to do in the neighboring countries, neighboring state, as well as the maritime security, that is the direct threat to the national interest, territorial interest of the India, territorial threat to the India, Indian Ocean, as well as the landed disputes with the China. Actives. This is the plan where China planning to build maritime routes to surroundings of India. That is the strategic threat for India. This picture showing especially the ongoing war in Ukraine. Yes, India is not opposing that, not going to say whatever the Americans say, but yes, we have some point of convergence with the divergence. So this cartoon is very interesting to know how the axis between the China, Russia, and the India. Yes, BRICS. We already share the BRICS global south, but we cannot ignore, we cannot deny the reality of the border dispute with China. Chinese intention of expansionist policy in the surrounding area of India. In conclusion, we can say yes, Xi Jinping, President Xi Jinping visit to the China is the crucial factor for China-Russia relations, but there is some direct or indirect implication for the Indian security, national interest, and strategic cooperation with Russia. So, outbreak of the Russian-Ukraine conflict, it declares relations between the two countries no limit. Some Western media claim Russia became the junior partner to China, but we don't know the exact history, whatever the exact situations. We know the legacy of the Russians after the after the Cold War or after the collapse of the Soviet Union. Russia is the still superpower that challenging the American hegemony across the world. But it is the China right now. There is a direct confrontation between the China versus Americans. India is the other side. The story is different, along with the border dispute, trade deficits. So we can say this is the very interesting today to know Chinese movement, Chinese expansionist policy, the foreign policy agenda, how they are going to expand the sphere of influence, especially geopolitics, geoeconomics in the international relations era of globalization, multilateralisms today. But second side, they are blaming India, India associated with American side along with the Indo-Pacific and Quad. Thank you.
Are you interested in television journalism or radio journalism or online journalism? Or do you want to learn with the flexibility of open learning? Or if you are a working professional, wants to enhance your knowledge and skill with certification in the field of electronic media, then School of Journalism and New Media Study, IGNOU, offers PG Diploma in Electronic Media Fund. This program includes audio and audio-visual program production for radio, television, and online platforms. Here are some important details about the program. We have total 8 courses of 32 credits, 6 theory courses, 1 practical and 1 project. Eligibility: bachelor's degree in any subject. Minimum duration 1 year, maximum 3 years. Medium is English, but the students can write their examinations, assignments, practical and project in Hindi also. So if you are interested in television, radio or online media, please come and join IGNOU's PG Diploma in Electronic Media.
We welcome you to join the bouquet of programs offered by the School of Humanities, the Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi. The Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi is a mega university today. It was created by an Act of Parliament in 1985. It is the world's largest university with an enrollment of about 3.5 million current students and 3.2 million alumni. IGNOU has also been accorded the highest grade of academic excellence, A++, by the National Assessment and Accreditation Council, or the NAC. Now, during your time at IGNOU as a learner, we will help you complete your program of study with world-class printed materials, audio and video programs. We have more than 35,000 academic counselors who will guide you till you complete your program of study. We also provide live interaction with your teachers at the headquarters via teleconferencing mode and live interactive radio counseling besides this, supported by regular TV and radio broadcasts. The School of Humanities was created in 1988, and we welcome you warmly to join any of our programs of study. IGNOU degrees, diplomas, and certificates are recognized not only in the
As part of Masters in Urban Studies and Masters in Development Studies, this particular topic, that is informal sector in India, is of very importance in terms of its, we can say, relevance for the development and for urbanization both. So today we are going to have an interaction more on the informal sector, that what are the various prospects, how it has become so important for the development of country and for the urbanization. So let's try to understand what is informal sector. Now, as the definition says, that it consists of private enterprises owned by individuals and households. You can say that all enterprises owned individually, collectively, or jointly for the sale of production of goods and services on partnership basis with less than 10 workers. What does it mean? This means that any enterprise which has less than 10 workers and which is involved in sale and production of goods and services is called informal sector. And all the workers who are involved in this sector, they are called informal workers. Now here also we find that definition is very clearly, it says that those workers who are involved in informal sector, they don't get any benefits which a formal worker of a formal sector gets. That is the EPF or the leave, or they can have their own, they can represent their grievances. These facilities are not with the informal workers. So that means this is this sector requires more attention, because the privileges and facilities which are there for the formal workers in a formal setup is not available here. Here they have started their own enterprise. They are whatever they are doing, the workers or the enterprise, it is on the personal initiative. So we shall see in coming discussion that what are the avenues for informal sector in this country. Now let's try to see what are the various sectors, segments where this informal sector works. Now all the workers, whether be domestic workers, casual workers, or workers who are involved in temporary or part time, they all are regarded as informal sector workers. Now, let's try to see that agriculture is the biggest area where more number of informal workers are engaged. Now, engagement of informal workers in agriculture is because agriculture is spread all across the rural areas and all across the country. And although agriculture land is owned by individual, but the individual landowner does not work. He employs workers. Now, these are the informal workers or the daily wage workers whom we call. Similarly, construction work, which is being done in all the urban areas or wherever it happens. Now, although these workers are the informal workers. So, we find that the area of operation of informal workers is huge, very large, from agriculture to urban areas to industries to various services in the urban areas. Today, the expanse of the urban informal worker has become so much important that they provide different kinds of services apart from delivery services, apart from cleaning and mining, apart from providing services in the hotel and restaurant or in the shops. They are there everywhere in all private enterprises. So, what is the relevance of these informal workers? That without them, development is not possible. And this is the sector, this is the segment of workers who are paid very minimal, with no benefits, with no EPF, with no medical, and still they are contributing to the national development and for the urbanization. Now let's try to see that what is the definition which has been furnished by Indian National Commission on Labor, which was there in 1966 to 69. It says those workers who have not been able to organize themselves in pursuit of their common interest due to certain constraints like casual nature of employment, ignorance, literacy, small and scattered size of establishment. So they are regarded as unorganized workers in this sector. Now, why I have put this definition of National Labor Commission, that this was the first and foremost benchmark where it was recognized that there is a need for providing some benefits, some security to these people, to these poorest of the poor who are involved in nation building as laborers, as workers, and some benefit should be provided to them. So this is the basis of providing some security to informal workers. Now, these are some of the features. Now, from these features, it is very evident that informal sector contributes maximum to the country's development and to the country's GDP. We find that almost 50% of its GDP is contributed by informal sector, and this sector also employs more than 90% of workforce. What does it mean? So that means the rest of the 10% workforce who are there in the formal sector, either in government sector or in the corporate sector, which is a formalized sector of employment, has some benefits for the employees, certain measures for these employees, whereas these informal sector workers who contribute almost 50% to GDP, and the number is so huge that almost 90% of them, they constitute the workforce of the country. So there is no provision for the welfare, for the medical, for the pension, or for the grievances of these workforce. Now let's move further. That official periodic labor force survey. Now this survey was conducted, and it says that 75% of informal workers are self-employed. So that means there is a need to understand that in order to become relevant in this competitive and professional world, they need some kind of skill. So skill becomes a very important component of these informal workers. Now those who are employed or those who are involved in self-enterprise in a very marginal way, like a tea seller or vegetable seller or a small shop. Now these are the people, they have acquired certain business acumen or some skill over a period of time through informal experience, through some certain failure, and they are surviving in this cutthroat market world, market oriented economy. Now, in order to understand the relevance and the importance, let's see what is the size of this workforce worldwide. 75% of informal workers are casual wage workers, and this is the largest informal sector in the world, and which is comparable to sub-Saharan Africa. And out of figure I have mentioned here, that 457 million workforce, almost 394 millions are informal sector, and 94% of these total workforce are engaged in informal sector. So that means there is a need for some kind of training, or as the new education policy also lays more important on the skill component at right from the school level education. So when this newly educated people with some kind of skill, understanding and on hand skill, these students when they come up, so their experience, they will have a different kind of experience in the informal sector. Their enterprise orientation would be slightly different from the present day enterprises which is being held by these. Then Indian Staffing Federation says that government sector workforce is just 12.3 million temporary workforce, which constituted 43% of total formal sector. So only 12, and which see the number 12.3 number compared to 497 number I said initially, that total number of workforce involved in the country. Now, India's official definition of formal jobs is that there is a provision of EPF, there is a share of formal workers in India. That means apart from EPF, they have medical, they can form their union, they can put across their grievances. So that safety valve is not with the informal sector, informal workers. Now, estimates of employment in India. This is very important that agriculture involves almost 238 million people in agriculture sector, and this 238 million is informal workers. Only 1.39 million are formal. Why formal? There are certain corporate houses, certain farms where what is today called is exchange farming, and it is also called contract farming. So these people, these farmers, these laborers involved in contract farming have been put into this 1.339 million, but 238 million, that is a huge number. They all are informal sector, these workers involved. Similarly, for the non-agriculture, now activities, non-agriculture activities are huge. It can be industry, it can be mining and quarry, it can be any other work which is being done which is not land based, that is not agriculture or forest based. So there also we find that number is very large. Almost 131 million farmers are workers are involved as a informal workers into this category. Similarly, for manufacturing, manufacturing is a sector which is very formal sector. Industries are formal, where there's a rule, regulation, discipline. They have to undergo certain skill training to handle apparatus and machines. So it is a manufacturing sector is more of a formal, but still the role of informal sector to carry the loads, and industries are also appointing huge number of casual labor workers on daily wage basis in order to save their income, in order to earn more profit. They are employing more and more casual labor workers. Electricity and gas, we find that number is very less in formal sector. We find that most of these sectors are owned by either government or huge corporate sector like BSNL or IGL or Jal Nigam. So this sector is very formalized. So people involved here are more formal and more formal sector employees. But construction sector, we find that the millions, almost 16.36 million people are informal sector. Why I am giving this data is to show that in the nation building, the role of informal sector workers is very high. Almost 93% of total persons involved in nation building in various sector, financial sector, community sector, all sector, hotel and trade. Hotel and trade and restaurant, we find that number of informal sector is, although it is a formal business, formal enterprises, but informal sector, informal employees are more here. Let's try to see the share of labor input of unorganized sector. We find that almost in 2004 and 2005, agriculture and forestry, their share of unorganized sector was 99.9. Same fishing, mining, manufacturing, electricity, gas was very less, construction. Other figures are available here to give an understanding that the role of informal sector is vastly increasing and their contribution is huge in terms of output, GDP, nation building, and services, good production of goods and services for the country. Now, if we try to analyze the data figure in terms of rural, urban, and male and female, we find that in both rural and urban areas, informal workers, their role is very high. Almost 75% in urban areas, 71% in urban areas, and and 71 million and 209 million in rural areas of male are involved in informal sector. The total number also it says that the contribution in urban and rural for the informal sector is very high, and here female contribution is slightly less informal in total overall informal employment, because it is a slightly tough, less less of, we can say, the skill component is less here. So the employment of women is in urban areas is more where there is some either soft skill or some kind of skill is there required. So their employment is more in those sectors. But wherever there is a activity or work which involves physical load or carrying or unskilled, we find that male workers are there more. Now, some of the recent development, which is very important, which talks of the safety device for these unorganized informal sector workers. What does it say? What happened during pandemic was that due to lockdown, many private enterprises, they had everything was closed, and all these informal workers had to vacate and move back from their place of earning to their native places. During that time, Honorable Supreme Court had pointed out to the government that what is the figure, what is the number of these informal workers. And because of, on behalf of the Honorable Supreme Court, formation of e-Shram portal came into 2021. Uh, and what does it say? This was launched in 2021, this portal, at building a comprehensive national database of unorganized workers in the country. So this is itself is a huge task of building a database of informal workers who are involved in working in various sectors: formal, informal, urban, rural, and various sector and very far-flung areas also. Now, according to the latest data, as many as 27.69 crore informal workers, sector workers, are registered. So that means there is still a huge gap. More number of informal workers are yet to be registered. Now, this registration is less because of lack of awareness on the part of informal workers. They are not aware that they have to register. There is some portal where if they register, some benefits would come to them in case of exigencies. Now, the proportion of overall 94% of 27.69 crore informal sector workers who are registered in e-Shram portal have a monthly income of less than 10,000. So see the bizarre affair, and see the pathetic condition under which this informal workers, unorganized sector has offered. They earn less than 10,000 per month, and the time and the labor which they provide for their work is not incommensurate with the salary or the wage they are earning. The data also showed that 94% of registered informal workers have monthly income this much, and that is 10 to 15,000. Now, recent development of informal workers, it says that those who are registered, more number of females are registered than male workers, because they are more aware, you can say, and they are slightly more skilled, and so they have registered more compared to the male workers. And the data also pointed out that these are the 5 states which shows in the highest number of informal workers, that is UP, Bihar, West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh, and Odisha. They are also regarded as Bimaru states. This is acronym of these 5 states. So it is not a negative connotation, but it only shows that the population density is high, unskilled laborers are more available here, education is not contributing, employment generation is less in these areas. And occupation wise, if we find, agriculture is still the top with almost 52% enrollment done, followed by what you say household workers, that is 9.93, and construction workers 9.13. Now, challenges related to informal workers. What are the major challenges they are facing? Long working hours, low pay, and difficult working conditions. We all know who are these workers, and most of these workers are also exploited because of the nature of the work, because of there is no organization which can vouch or which can speak for these daily wage or informal workers. Then low job security, because since they are into private enterprise, some of them like a tea seller or vegetable vendor or so there is no one to provide any kind of security, social security, medical security to them. So they have to fend for themselves. That's why the informal workers, the condition, working condition, and they have to face a lot of challenges. The inadequate social security, because the social security is provided by an organization, a corporate or a government or an institution where they are employed. But since they are self-employed or working in household, so they are not able to get these security regulation. Then it is very difficult for them to exercise their rights. If they try to exert or exercise their rights, they are terminated, their services are terminated, they are sent off. So they have to work quietly and face the tuning. Then child and forced labor discrimination on the basis of various factors. This is another, child labor is yet another very big problem in informal sector. There are certain kind of job where child labor is preferred by the owner or by the enterpriser. Why? Because the nature of work is such that child is best suited for that kind of work. Then vulnerability, you can say low paid and undervalued job. Most of the informal workers in this sector, they are undervalued. Now, the last slide, I want to show that these are the some recent initiatives which Government of India has initiated for the welfare of these informal sector workers. Now, it says that Pradhan Mantri Shram Yogi Man Dhan, Pradhan Mantri Rozgar Protsahan Yojana, then PM Savnidhi microcredit system. These are the some facilities which has come up from the government side. The informal workers can avail certain benefits from the government side if they are registered. So first, informal workers have to register themselves on the eShram portal, and after that, in terms of in time of crisis, they can avail certain benefits from a number of initiatives which Government of India has launched for the informal or the unorganized sector in this country. Now, this was a brief on the informal sector, that the contribution of this sector is so high, yet they don't get any financial or organizational or social security. But now recently the government has initiated certain benefits, certain facilities for them. So this is a very good initiative on the behalf of the government for this informal sector. Thank you very much.
Gandhi National Open University, accredited with A++ grade by NAC, provides you a quality education in open and distance learning. School of Performing and Visual Art is offering a wide range of programs in performing and visual art. Certificate program in painting, certificate program in applied art, certificate program in Bharatanatyam dance, certificate program in Hindustani music, Carnatic music and theatre arts.
बहुत यत्न करने के बाद भी नहीं पा सका, संजोग से मैं इस बार लेके आया हूँ.
All the certificate programs are of 6 months duration with 16 credits. We offer 1-year diploma in theatre arts with 10+2 eligibility criteria of 32 credits. The learners are exposed to various aspects of elements of drama, theatre games, acting techniques, scene work procedures, and they will also have the opportunity to take part in a classroom play production. We also offer bachelor's degree in Hindustani music. This program is duration of 3 years and learners are having the flexibility to complete this program over a period of 6 years. Apart from bachelor's, we also offer masters in drawing and painting with a duration of 2 years. Apart from certificate programs, degree, masters, we also offer PhD programs in performing and visual art with a specialization of visual arts, music, dance and theatre. Art is the perfect manifestation of every human being. So what you are waiting for? For online admissions, please visit our website www.ignou.ac.in. For more details, you can also contact Director, School of Performing and Visual Art, Block number 15G, IGNOU, Maidan Gadi, New Delhi. You can also reach us at sopva.ignou.ac.in. Happy learning!
आश्रम के चूहे पकड़े, उनको सचमुच राधा लगने लगी, पता नहीं।
तो हमारी माया के लिए सुरक्षित है.
Dear learners, welcome to IGNOU. You're going to lead with a difference. So how do you lead with the difference? The unique attributes of the university system through which you're going to go for the management program or any other program is the multiple entry and exit. It provides flexible learning where a learner can learn at its own will and at its own pace. It offers multimodal approaches like we have MBA, the normal through the distance learning mode and through online mode. So it has a multimodal approach. It has face-to-face counseling. It offers web counseling also. It gives interactive satellite-aided communication network through teleconferencing, and it also gives the radio counseling also. When we talk about School of Management Studies, it was the first school and it had the pioneer program of diploma in management. Till date, it has been offering around 14 programs in management and 13 programs in commerce disciplines. The school has international presence as well as it provides the programs in specific Asian and African countries across the globe. Now talking about Master of Business Administration. What are the objectives? What are the learning objectives of this Master of Business Administration? What are the unique features of this Master of Business Administration which IGNOU is offering? Let us see the program at a glance. The program name is MBA and the eligibility criteria for this program is bachelor's degree, minimum of 3 years duration with at least 50% marks and 45% marks in case of the reserved category. The duration of the program is minimum 2 years and maximum 4 years, and the program fee per semester is 15,500. The total credits of the program, the total credits are 116.
because there is one project course which is equivalent to 2 courses. So it comes out to be 29 courses. If a student wants to exit the program after completion of the specified courses available in the first and second semesters, that is 56 credits if the student completes, then there is an exit option available. The award of postgraduate diploma in management on the request of the student if the student wants to exit. Apart from this, there are 4 stand-alone PG diplomas also, which are a different part. They don't fall a part of the management program. They are the stand-alone diplomas, that is postgraduate diploma in human resource management, postgraduate diploma in financial management, postgraduate diploma in operations management, and postgraduate diploma in marketing management. So these are standalone diplomas. So the links available for the student handbook and prospectus of Master of Business Administration. So this is all about the MBA program. Happy learning.
In the current global economy and digital era, learn or perish is the order of the day for all adults in all sectors of life. As a result, adult education and lifelong learning have assumed great significance. IGNOU as a national university has played its role by way of coming up with the Master of Arts in Adult Education program, MAAE.
MAAE program focuses on different aspects of theory and practice, policies and programs, as well as research, among other things related to adult education.
MAE is a 2-year modular program with multiple entry and exit options. Students who complete first year of the program will be awarded with the postgraduate diploma in adult education. In case they want to continue, they will complete the second year program and they will be awarded with the Master of Arts in adult education.
MAE program consists of 10 courses, 5 courses in each year, 8 theory courses, 6 credits worth, and 1 practical course of 10 credits in the first year and 1 dissertation course of 10 credits in the second year.
Practical course of MAAE is divided into 3 components, namely community-based practical activities, workshop-based practical activities, and adult education training center or institution-based practical activities. And the student has to complete all the 3 components for completion of this practical course.
The minimum qualification required for admission to this program is bachelor's degree from any recognized university. The minimum duration is 2 years and the maximum duration is 4 years.
Instructional system follows multimedia approach. The major medium of instruction is self-learning print materials, which is supplemented by other media such as audio-video programs, broadcasting, that is interactive radio counseling, teleconferencing, personal contact programs or counseling sessions at the study centers, workshops and field work as well as internship at the institutional level.
Those who seek out a master's degree in adult education have a myriad of career and specialization options. They can go further for higher studies, that is research in various fields of adult education, an adult literacy teacher, faculty in university departments of adult and continuing education, extension and lifelong learning. Field functionaries in the projects implemented by state and central governments as well as NGOs. For more details, you can log on to
www.ignou.ac.in.
Don't forget to take admission. Hurry up.
चर्चा करने जा रहे हैं चैमिन उपन्यास में भारतीय नारी। शिव शंकर पिल्ले का जो उपन्यास है चैमिन उपन्यास, उस उपन्यास में करुतम्मा नाम की जो नायिका है, उसमें जो रूप दिखाया गया है भारतीय नारी का, उसमें आज हम उसकी गहनता को, उस चिंतन को और भारतीय नारी की पृष्ठभूमि को चैमिन उपन्यास में देखेंगे। करुतम्मा जो है वह एक मछुआरे की बेटी है। यह जो पूरा उपन्यास है यह मछुआरे जीवन पर आधारित उपन्यास है और इस उपन्यास की नायिका करुतम्मा दिखाया है शुरू में ही कि दो जो है जो नायक है और वह बैठा हुआ है कहाँ पे, समुद्र के किनारे, और उसमें वह चर्चा कर रहा है मछलियों के जो है जाल की, मछलियों के जो समुद्र में चलाने वाली जहाज की एक छोटी सी कल्पना उसमें दिखाई है। और फिर दो परिवार इस उपन्यास में दिखाए हैं, जिसमें पास में ही रहने वाले जो एक परिवार है उसमें वह और प्राणेशाचार्य का जो परिवार है, जिसमें जो करुतम्मा है एक 16-17 साल की नवयुवती है। तो सामान्यतः हमारे घर परिवारों में भी यही होता है कि जो परिवार के जो बच्चे होते हैं वह दूसरे परिवार के साथ एक उसी रूप में रहने लगते हैं, एक परिवार की तरह से ही। वहाँ पर एक जब करुतम्मा का जो पिता है वह क्या करता है कि उसका सपना है कि उसकी एक अपनी नाव होनी चाहिए जिसे वह चलाएगा, और उसके साथ जात वह अपनी पत्नी से भी, चक्की उसकी पत्नी का नाम है, करुतम्मा की माँ का नाम यहाँ पर चक्की है, तो वह उसे चर्चा करता है कि एक ऐसी जैसे अपनी एक ऐसी ज़िंदगी होगी जिसमें पैसे की कोई कमी नहीं होगी, जहाँ पर कोई खुशियों का माहौल होगा, चारों तरफ एक दिन हम एक समृद्ध परिवार की तरह से हम लोग रहेंगे। एक ऐसी परिकल्पना यहाँ पे नायक जो उपन्यासकार है उसने की है। सामान्यतः हर व्यक्ति का सपना होता है कि वह एक अच्छा और सुखमय जीवन व्यतीत करे, तो उसी के चलते जो है इसमें एक पड़ाव, जैसे एक सामान्यतः एक प्रेम कहानी, हम इस उपन्यास की जो नायक और नायिका है उसके उसे एक प्रेम कहानी पर आधारित उपन्यास भी हम इसे कहेंगे। सामान्यतः यह मछुआरे जीवन की समस्याओं पर लिखा गया है। वहाँ जो एक आर्थिक रूप से जो कमज़ोर व्यक्ति होता है किस तरीके से अपने जीवन को व्यतीत करता है, किस तरीके से वह आगे बढ़ता है और उसके अपने सपने होते हैं। तो यहाँ पर हम बात करने वाले हैं भारतीय नारी की। तो भारतीय नारी का जो इस उपन्यास में जो चित्र खींचा है, इसमें कई नारी पात्र हैं, जिसमें से सबसे पहले चक्की कौन है? जो नायक है उसकी पत्नी है। इसके अलावा इस उपन्यास में जो एक दूसरी जिसे हम कहेंगे दूसरी नायिका के तौर पर जो प्रमुख जो नायिका है वह करुतम्मा है, और उसके बाद जो है करुतम्मा की जो छोटी बहन है पंचमी, उसको भी दिखाया गया है। उसके बाद चक्की की मृत्यु के बाद जैसे जो उसके पिता जो है वह किसी दूसरी महिला से भी विवाह करते हैं, और उसके चरित्र को भी इस उपन्यास में दिखाया गया है। यहाँ पर जो एक भारतीय जो समाज है उसमें एक शादी के बाद जब लड़की ससुराल चली जाती है तो परिवार में सामान्यतः यही माना जाता है कि वही उसका सब कुछ होता है। इस उपन्यास में जो नारी का जो विशिष्ट रूप से जो एक पक्ष, एक पहलू उपन्यासकार ने रखा है कि शादी होने के बाद क्या सारी चीजें खत्म हो जाती हैं? शादी होने के बाद किस तरीके से आज भी किसी भी लड़की के अतीत को बार बार याद किया जाता है, और वह अतीत किस प्रकार से उसको अभिशप्त कर देता है। बचपन में जो करुतम्मा जिस लड़के के साथ जो है वह रही है, जिसके साथ उसने जो उसका जिसे हम कहेंगे कि एक दोस्त के तरीके से भी किसी ना किसी रूप में उसकी परिवार को पता चल जाता है कि जो लड़की है वह इस लड़के के प्रेम में है, और उसके बाद उससे जो है शादी करना चाहती है, लेकिन उसकी माँ जो है वह इस शादी को स्वीकार नहीं करती है। पिता को जब पता चलता है तो वह किस तरीके से वह उस लड़के की भावनाओं के साथ खिलवाड़ करता है। एक ऐसे पिता का चरित्र इस उपन्यास में खींचा गया है कि पिता जब उसे पता लगता है कि जो लड़का जो है वह उससे प्रेम करता है, उसकी लड़की से, और वह आर्थिक रूप से समृद्ध है, भले ही वह उससे अपनी बेटी की शादी नहीं करेगा, लेकिन उसका भावनात्मक शोषण वह किस तरीके से करता है, वह उससे पैसे उधार लेता है और पैसे उधार लेके क्या है, एक जाल खरीदता है, एक नाव खरीदता है और एक नाव से भी उसे तसल्ली नहीं होती है। बार बार जो है करुतम्मा कहती है कि जो है इसके जो पैसे हैं वह वापस कर दीजिए, लेकिन पिता के कान पर जूं नहीं रेंगती है। अंत में जो नायिका के जो पलनी नाम का जो एक बार उसके पिता जब समुद्र में जहाज चला रहे होते हैं तो देखते हैं कि समुद्र में तूफान आ जाता है और तूफान आने के बाद जो है एकदम से सबकी नाव डगमगाने लगती है। उसी समय वह देखता है कि एक बहादुर सा एक युवक जो है वह नाव को लिए आ रहा है और वह उससे जब बात करता है तो उसे पता चलता है कि यह पड़ोस के ही किसी जो है गांव का है, समुद्र के जो दूसरी तरफ है उस किसी गांव का लड़का है और यह लड़का अनाथ है। वह उसे अपने घर पे बुलाता है, उसकी बहादुरी से वह प्रभावित होता है और इस कद्र उसकी प्रभावित होता है वह कि वह उसके साथ अपनी बेटी की शादी करने को तैयार हो जाता है। उसे लगता है कि यहाँ पर मेरी बेटी का जो भविष्य है वह सुरक्षित है, आर्थिक रूप से भी, और ऐसी कोई जातिगत समस्या भी नहीं है। तो जब उसकी शादी होने लगती है, शादी के बाद जो वह जाती है, करुतम्मा अपने घर जा रही होती है तो वह क्या करती है कि वह रोने लगती है। तो उसकी माँ उसको कहती है, अच्छा तो क्या उस मुस्लिम छोकरे को तुम भूली नहीं हो, उसके लिए रो रही हो? तो वह कहती है कि छी, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है। और वह चली जाती है अपनी ससुराल। ससुराल जाने के बाद वह अपने अतीत को भुला देना चाहती है और अपनी गृहस्थी को जो है गृहस्थी में रम जाती है। अब पलनी ही उसका सब कुछ हो जाता है, वही उसको वह उसका जिसे हम कहेंगे कि सर्वस्व वह उसे मान लेती है। और जब वह भारतीय समाज की यही परंपरा रही है, लड़की का शादी के बाद लड़की का ससुराल ही उसका सब कुछ है। हाँ, कहा जाता है कि जब लड़की की जो शादी जब हो जाती है तो वहाँ से क्या है, घर से उसकी मायके से उसकी डोली उठती है और ससुराल से उसकी अर्थी उठती है। यह जो विडंबना है, या जिसे हम कहेंगे कि यह जो जिसे कहेंगे यह धारणा भारतीय परंपरा में बहुत गहरे से अपना जो है घर कर चुकी है। इसी परंपरा पर जो है लेखक ने एक सवाल उठाया है। साथ साथ एक जो मेन जो इस उपन्यास की जो भारतीय परंपरागत जो जिसे हम कहेंगे भारतीय चिंतन की जब जो बात कहेंगे, एक अवधारणा है। कौन सी अवधारणा की यहाँ पर चर्चा की है? यौन सुचिता। यौन सुचिता की एक अवधारणा होती है। उस अवधारणा के अंतर्गत यह अटल रूप से या स्थापित रूप से, संकल्पित रूप से, या जिसे हम कहेंगे कि दृढ़ रूप से एक पाठ लड़की को पढ़ाया जाता है और उसको किसी विश्वविद्यालय में या किसी विशेष जो है जिसे हम कहेंगे ट्रेनिंग सेंटर में या किसी कोचिंग सेंटर में ये चीज़ उसे बताने की आवश्यकता नहीं होती है कि शादी से पहले जो है किसी दूसरे किसी भी पुरुष के साथ शारीरिक संबंध बनाना एक तरह का महापाप माना जाता है हमारी भारतीय परंपरा में। इसी परंपरा का निर्वाह करते हुए या इसी कहीं ना कहीं इस गहरी पेट जिसे यहाँ पर दिखाया है कि अगर कोई महिला या कोई लड़की अगर वह अपने पति के प्रति पूर्णतया समर्पित नहीं है तो क्या है कि तभी उसके पति की मृत्यु समुद्र में मछली पकड़ते समय, समुद्री जहाज में जब कोई पुरुष बैठ के जो मछलियां पकड़ने के लिए जब जाता है तो वह उसकी मृत्यु नहीं हो सकती। हाँ, अगर उसकी पत्नी जो है, अगर उसका चरित्र यानी कि अगर वह अपना उसका चरित्र अगर सही नहीं है तो वह विनाश का कारण बनेगी और सिर्फ अपने पति के लिए नहीं, वह पूरा जो मछुआरा समाज है उसके लिए भी वह एक विनाश और विध्वंस लेकर आएगी। तो चूंकि जब करुतमा की जब शादी हो जाती है, वह ससुराल चली जाती है, कहीं ना कहीं वह अपने जो उसका जो जिस लड़के से वह प्रेम करती थी वह उसे भूली नहीं है और बार बार अगर वह भूलना भी चाहती है तो क्या है कि भूलना चाहने के बावजूद भी उसे याद दिलाया जाता है कि वह कैसी लड़की रही है पीछे। और आसपास की जो महिलाएं हैं वह बात करती हैं। अच्छा, शादी के बाद जब अनाथ लड़का था, कैसे शादी कर दी, और उसके बाद जब ये शादी होके आई है तो इसके साथ कोई नहीं आया। इसके पीछे क्या कारण है? अगर किसी अमीर घर की लड़की की शादी गरीब घर में कर दी जाती है तो जरूर कहीं ना कहीं चरित्र में खोट होगा, तभी यह इस घर में आई है। अगर जो है अनाथ है, कुछ भी नहीं है, फिर भी इसके माँ बाप ने शादी की है, इसका स्वाभाविक सा मतलब यही है कि लड़की ने कहीं ना कहीं ऊंच नीच है। यानी ऊंच नीच का यहाँ पर मतलब सीधा सीधा चरित्र से है। और चरित्र यहाँ पर किस चीज से आंका जा रहा है? सिर्फ और सिर्फ स्त्री देह से, और उसी यौन सुचिता का वर्णन यहाँ पर किया है। तो कहीं ना कहीं यह बात कितने दिन तक कोई चीजें छुप सकती हैं? कहीं ना कहीं एक बार यह जो बात है, जब पलनी को भी इस बात का आभास हो जाता है कि करुतम्मा का पहले किसी से प्रेम रहा है, तो जब उसकी माँ की मृत्यु हो जाती है और जब वह लड़का जिससे जिससे वह प्रेम करती थी वह संदेश लेकर आता है कि उसकी माँ की जो है मृत्यु हो गई है, तो कहीं ना कहीं पलनी शक करता है कि एक मुस्लिम लड़का जो है वह इसके माँ की मरने की खबर लेकर क्यों आया है? कहीं ना कुछ गलत है। और दिखा और आहिस्ता आहिस्ता से जब चीजें खुलती हैं तो गरुतम्मा जो अपनी बहन पंचमी उसके यहाँ के आ जाती है, और आने के बाद जो है वह कहती है कि ये है जो दीदी, क्या तुम जो है उसे भूल चुकी हो? तो वह कुछ नहीं कहती है, वह बातों को घुमा देती है कि तुम कैसी बातें कर रही हो, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है, मेरा पति ही मेरा सब कुछ है, और अब वही मेरे जीने मरने का, यहाँ तक कि एक सर्वस्व में मैंने उसी को अर्पित किया है। तो ऐसा भाव, ऐसा मैं सोच भी नहीं सकती हूँ। लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं वह बात उसको अंदर ही अंदर खाए जा रही है। वह चाह कर भी जो है उस यानी कि एक सिचुएशन, यानी कि एक ऐसी परिस्थिति दिखाई गई है कि भूलना चाहता है इंसान तब भी उसे भूलने नहीं दिया जाता है। बार बार उसके अतीत को उसके सामने लाकर खड़ा कर दिया जाता है, और किस तरीके से एक स्त्री के चरित्र को उसे चरित्रवान और चरित्रहीन का जिसे कहेंगे हम, उसका दर्जा उसे किस तरीके से सामाजिक जो दायरा है उसके अंदर रह के समाज के लोग दे रहे हैं, और उसी घुटन को, उसी पीड़ा को यहाँ पर लेखक ने बहुत ही मार्मिक तरीके से दिखाया है। तो आज भी जब हम देखते हैं, जब हम स्त्री की बात करते हैं, भारतीय जो समाज है इसमें, तो उसके चरित्र की परिभाषा सिर्फ और सिर्फ उसकी देह तक ही सिमट कर रह जाती है, ना कि एक चरित्र की जब हम बात करते हैं, सच बोलना, ईमानदार रहना, मधुर वाणी होना, संबंधों में जिसे हम कहेंगे कि स्पष्टता होना, और जिसे हम कहेंगे सर्वांगीण विकास, ये सारी चीजें क्या चरित्र में समाहित नहीं होती हैं? कौन कितना व्यवहारिक है, किस तरीके से अपने रिश्तों के प्रति ईमानदार है, और अपने कार्य को कितने सुचारू रूप से करता है, और चाहे वह शैक्षणिक जगत में हो, चाहे सामाजिक जगत में हो, चाहे आर्थिक जगत की कोई भी जो पक्ष है, चाहे कार्य क्षेत्र को लेकर अगर हम चीजों को रखते हैं, तो उसमें वह अपने काम के प्रति व्यक्ति कितना समर्पित है, ये सारी चीजें जो है व्यक्ति के चरित्र में आती हैं। और जब लड़के के चरित्र की बात की जाती है तो आखिर क्यों क्यों उसका चरित्र सिर्फ और सिर्फ एक चीज से ही जोड़ा जाता है, जिसमें वह तो सिर्फ नेमत मात्र होती है, अकेली तो वह कुछ कर ही नहीं सकती है, जिसमें दूसरा व्यक्ति भी शामिल होता है। तो दोष जो है वो सिर्फ और सिर्फ स्त्री का, जो जिसे हम कहते हैं कि उसी को खंडित, या उसी की यह कौन सी मनोवृत्ति है जिसमें बदलाव की आवश्यकता है। यह जो उपन्यास है, जिस करुतम्मा के माध्यम से इसमें अंत में दिखाया गया है कि किस तरीके से जो है वह बाहर निकलती है। बाहर जैसे ही रात का समय है, चांदनी रात है, जैसे बाहर निकलती है तो उसे वही लड़का उसे खड़ा हुआ मिलता है, और वह उसे जिसे वह भूलना चाहती थी, और दूसरी तरफ दिखाया है कि तूफान आ जाता है, समुद्र में पलनी नाव लेके गया हुआ है, और वहां पर जो है उसमें भयंकर तूफान आने के कारण वह उसमें जो है दिख रहा है कि तूफान आ गया है, नाव उसकी डगमगा रही है। डगमगाने का प्रतीक वही है कि उसकी स्त्री का चरित्र डोल रहा है, वह अपने मन पर काबू नहीं पा रही है। वह उससे आकर मिलती है, और समुद्र की जो लहरें हैं वह उन दोनों को जो है, पीछे से समुद्र बह रहा है, वह दोनों मिलते हैं, आत्मसात होते हैं, उस समय वह भूल जाती है कि उसकी एक छोटी सी बच्ची भी है, उसका पति भी है। सारी जो है वह मर्यादाओं को खंडित करती है, और मर्यादाएं जब खंडित होती हैं तो उससे क्या होता है, उससे विनाश का यहाँ पर लेखक ने संकेत दिया है कि जब मर्यादाएं टूटती हैं, उनका विखंडन होता है, तो सिर्फ और सिर्फ विध्वंस और विनाश होता है। प्रतीकात्मक रूप से अगर हम इसे देखते हैं तो भले ही इसमें एक स्त्री को पात्र के रूप में, एक स्त्री के चरित्र को इसमें लिया गया है, लेकिन अगर मान्यताएं और जो सकारात्मकता को लिए हुए होती हैं, जिससे समाज का विकास होता है, वहाँ पर अगर विखंडन होता है, जिस तरीके से अगर नदी मर्यादा में बहती हुई चलती है तो वह उसके चारों तरफ जो है वह सींचती हुई चलती है और एक खुशियों का माहौल उसमें होता है। लेकिन जब वही नदी मर्यादा को तोड़ती है तो भयंकर विनाश आता है, भयंकर तबाही होती है। यह भी नहीं पता होता कि कितने प्रकार का या कितना नुकसान उसमें हुआ है। इसी प्रकार से यहाँ पर प्रतीकात्मक रूप से जो है लेखक उपन्यासकार ने नारी के चरित्र को रखा है, और उसी उसी चरित्र में को जब वह उससे जब दिखाया गया है कि जब वह अपनी मर्यादाओं से बाहर आती है, तो अंत में दिखाया है कि दो लाशें जो है वह पड़ी हुई हैं, जिसमें से एक जो है करुतम्मा है और दूसरा उसका प्रेमी है। तीसरी तरफ जो है उसका जो पति है वह भी जो है नाव में, उसकी नाव भी डूब जाती है, और छोटी जो बच्ची है वह अपनी वह अंत में जो उसकी बहन है, करुतम्मा की जो बहन है, वह समुद्र के किनारे पर खड़ी हुई है और उसकी गोद में वह छोटी सी बच्ची है। वह एक उम्मीद में खड़ी है, एक आशा में उसको दिखाया है कि किस तरीके से जो है वह उम्मीद कर रही है कि शायद कुछ जो शायद उसकी माँ वापस आएगी, शायद उसकी बहन वापस आएगी। इस तरीके का जो नैतिकता, चरित्रता जिसे हम कह रहे हैं, ये जो वर्जनाएं जो स्थापित की गई हैं, उस पर लेखक ने गहरा कटाक्ष भी किया है। और बदलते हुए समाज में आज जो हम दृश्य देखते हैं, जिसमें किस तरीके से नैतिकताएं जो है वह टूट रही हैं। एक स्त्री के शरीर को ही सब कुछ माना जाता है, उसी से उसके चरित्र का पैमाना निर्धारित किया जाता है, जिसके चलते आज भी हम देखते हैं, हमारे चारों तरफ भी देखते हैं कि किस तरीके की दिक्कतों का सामना हमें करना पड़ रहा है। तो यह जो उपन्यास है, इसमें भारतीय नारी के उस चिंतन को इसमें दिखाया है कि एक देह मात्र समझ लेने से ही जो है वह स्त्री एक अकेली स्त्री उत्तरदायी तो नहीं है, उसी का उत्तरदायी तो नहीं है, और जो चरित्र की जो परिभाषाएं गढ़ी गई हैं, वह कहाँ तक वह जो मान्यताएं और या जो परंपराएं जो गढ़ी गई हैं, वह कहाँ तक सही हैं। ऐसे ही सवाल के साथ जो है यह उपन्यास खत्म होता है, और एक नया दर्शन जिसे कहेंगे हम कि बदलने की जिसे आवश्यकता है, जो ऐसी मानसिकता जो स्त्री को देह केंद्रित मानकर और उस पर जो लादी जाती हैं वर्जनाएं, जितनी वर्जनाएं लादी जाती हैं, इंसान को वो उतनी ही जल्दी से उन चीज़ों को पकड़ता है। तो एक स्वतंत्रता की मांग करने वाला जो यह उपन्यास है, स्त्री स्वतंत्रता के नैतिक, या जिसे कहेंगे कि हम यौन सुचिताएं, या जिसे जो वर्जनाएं उसके शरीर पर लादी जाती हैं, उनका विरोध करता सा यह उपन्यास है, जो काफ़ी प्रासंगिक है। तो इतना था ये जो चैमिन उपन्यास की, जिसे हम नारी चेतना कहेंगे, और चैमिन उपन्यास का जो भारतीय नारी का जो चिंतन है, वह इस उपन्यास में उपन्यासकार ने कुछ इसी रूप में हमें दिखाया है, स्पष्ट किया है, हमारे समक्ष रखा है, और काफ़ी ज्वलंत और प्रासंगिक मुद्दे को लेखक ने छुआ है।
Do you wish to be part of a television studio like this, or any other media system, or already part of any media system, want to enhance a new set of skills? Welcome to School of Journalism New Media Studies. Here in the School of Journalism New Media Studies, we are offering program for all set of people to learn and enhance their media skills. The vision of School of Journalism and New Media Studies is to generate a new set of professionals in the area of media and communication studies with understanding about role of media in the national development and global understanding. We offer innovative programs in the field of journalism and mass communication that sets a benchmark of high quality learning and teaching process at the national level. We offer these programs across the country with the help of our regional network as well as study center. Same manner, many of our programs are offered through online mode with a sophisticated learning management system. SOGNMS offers programs from PhD in journalism and mass communication.
नमस्कार। ज्ञान दर्शन के सभी दर्शकों को ज्ञान दर्शन के स्टूडियो से मेरा और स्कूल ऑफ जर्नलिज्म एंड न्यू मीडिया स्टडीज़ के डायरेक्टर प्रोफेसर के.एस. अरुल सेल्वन, हम दोनों की तरफ से आप लोगों सभी छात्रों का बहुत बहुत स्वागत और अभिनंदन है। आज हम लोग स्कूल द्वारा संचालित जितने भी डिप्लोमा और मास्टर्स प्रोग्राम हैं उनके बारे में एक ब्रीफ इंट्रोडक्शन देंगे और उसके बाद आपको असाइनमेंट कैसे करना है उसके बारे में हम लोग बताएंगे, क्योंकि अभी सभी प्रोग्राम्स का एडमिशन प्रोसेस चल रहा था। उसके बाद एडमिशन के बाद तुरंत छात्रों पे एक दबाव होता है कि उनको असाइनमेंट समय से कैसे करना है, कब सबमिट करना है, उसका टाइम क्या होता है। ये सारे इन्फॉर्मेशन तो प्रोग्राम गाइड में डिटेल हम लोग देते ही हैं और हमारे स्कूल के और इग्नू के वेबसाइट पर ये उपलब्ध भी रहता है और सभी छात्र जब भी एडमिशन लेते हैं वो हमारे प्रोग्राम गाइड को रेफ़र करते हैं। इसके बावजूद भी बहुत सारे छात्र होते हैं जो समय समय पर टेलीफोन के माध्यम से, ईमेल के माध्यम से और बाकी मीडियम के माध्यम से वो जानना चाहते हैं कि हमारा असाइनमेंट कब सबमिट करना है, कैसे सबमिट करना है, कहाँ सबमिट करना है, क्या उसका प्रोसेस है। तो इसके बारे में हम लोग आपको डिटेल जानकारी देंगे। इसके साथ ही इस प्रोग्राम से संबंधित और भी जो जानकारियां हैं उसको भी हम लोग अपडेट करेंगे। असाइनमेंट सबमिट करने का डेट एक्सटेंड हो गया है, उसको आप इग्नू के वेबसाइट पर देख सकते हैं। ये सारी जानकारी हम लोग देंगे, लेकिन उसके पहले स्कूल का एक ब्रीफ इंट्रोडक्शन हम कोशिश करेंगे कि पहले इंट्रोडक्शन दें, उसके बारे में सारे प्रोग्राम के बारे में डिटेल बताएं और उसके बाद आपको असाइनमेंट प्रोसेस के बारे में बताएं। तो मैं डायरेक्टर स्कूल ऑफ जर्नलिज्म एंड न्यू मीडिया स्टडीज़ प्रोफेसर के.एस. अरुल सेल्वन से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि एक स्कूल और प्लस जो हमारे रनिंग प्रोग्राम है, जितने सर्टिफिकेट, डिप्लोमा और मास्टर्स प्रोग्राम है, उसके बारे में एक डिटेल इन्फॉर्मेशन शेयर करें। उसके बाद हम लोग नेक्स्ट स्टेप पे बात करेंगे।
Thank you, Ramesh ji. The School of Journalism and New Media Studies is one among the 21 schools in the university. In the last cycle, many of you might have applied for various programs. Now, as my colleague Dr. Ramesh has mentioned about the assignments, immediately after the admissions process gets over, then you have to prepare for the materials, read the material, understand the materials, and go for the assignments. Let us, before discussing about the assignments and other academic requirements, we will give you the brief outline about the school. School of Journalism and New Media Studies offers various academic programs in different levels, starting from certificate to PhD level. certificate in community radio, which is a 6 months program, and eligibility is 10+2. Primarily, it's meant for people who are interested in the community radio concept, how to manage a radio station, how to run a station, or how to start a station, and various opportunities available for funding. Otherwise, different program making techniques, how to deal with the community in which the radio is operating that. So this is 6 months program. Followed by, we have various postgraduate diploma program. Postgraduate diploma in journalism and mass communication is the oldest program of the university and now belongs to school. And the program got revised in 2020, and the last 3 years we are running this program in a distance mode, and from 2023 onwards this is available in online mode. Not only the different modes, the same diploma in journalism and mass communications are available in multiple languages: English, Hindi and Tamil. And we have postgraduate diploma in development communication, and we have diploma in digital media, postgraduate diploma in electronic media, postgraduate diploma in advertising and integrated communication. So the school offers a wide variety of specialized diplomas, and it depends upon the interest area. If you're very keen to work on advertising field, public relation, then you can go for a specific diploma in advertising. Very keen to work on non-governmental organization, public sector, developmental area, or international agencies, or project-based work, then you can go for a postgraduate diploma in development communication. Very keen on technology, digital media, online platform, then we have diploma in digital media. So these are the diplomas, and the eligibility criteria is bachelor's degree. And for the further details, you can check the university website for the specific fee structure and related courses and all. Then followed by, we have master's program. The uniqueness of the school is we have converted all the major diploma program into master's degree. For example, postgraduate diploma in journalism is a 1-year diploma, but we have masters in journalism and mass communication. If you have a diploma in journalism, then you can go to MA second year directly. If you do another 1 year, you will get a MA. Similarly, we have postgraduate diploma in development communication, and we are converted into masters in development journalism. And postgraduate diploma in digital media now has been upgraded into masters in digital media. Postgraduate diploma in electronic media now available in masters in electronic media. Depends upon your requirement, depends upon the interest. If you want to go for short-term training, go for diploma, or if you want to look for the degree program, you can go for masters. For any on any of the following subjects, we have diploma, we have master degree. Electronic media, we have diploma, we have master degree. And similarly for electronic digital media and development communication and mass communication and advertising level. Advertising we haven't converted into master's level, but all the other diplomas we have done the master's level. And we have the lateral entry, lateral exit, and all as per the university norms we are following these programs. Apart from this certificate, diploma and master's level program, we have PhD doctoral level studies. That admission is completely different, and the university takes the admission for this PhD level program in a different admission cycle, and entrance exam followed by interview that goes for a different stream of selection process. So this is the complete picture of academic programs offered by School of Journalism and New Media Studies. Right, and then I'll request my colleague to give an overview of little more information about the program, then we'll take it up to the assignments.
तो जैसा कि प्रोफेसर के.एस. अरुल सेल्वन जी स्कूल और प्रोग्राम के बारे में आपसे डिटेल इन्फॉर्मेशन शेयर कर रहे थे। जैसा कि आपको पता है कि इंदिरा गांधी राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विश्वविद्यालय एक ओपन डिस्टेंस लर्निंग यूनिवर्सिटी है, और हम लोगों के जितने भी प्रोग्राम हैं जो प्रोफेशनल्स प्रोग्राम है जर्नलिज्म में, सर्टिफिकेट इन कम्युनिटी रेडियो, पीजी डिप्लोमा इन डेवलपमेंट कम्युनिकेशन, पीजी डिप्लोमा इन जर्नलिज्म एंड मास कम्युनिकेशन, पीजी डिप्लोमा इन डिजिटल मीडिया, पीजी डिप्लोमा इन इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मीडिया, पीजी डिप्लोमा इन इंटीग्रेटेड कम्युनिकेशन एंड एडवर्टाइजिंग। ये इतने हमारे डिप्लोमा चल रहे हैं, प्लस एक ऑडियो ब्रॉडकास्टिंग में डिप्लोमा प्रोग्राम है। इसके अलावा हम लोगों ने 4 एमए प्रोग्राम अभी लॉन्च किए हैं। एक एमए प्रोग्राम पहले से चल रहा है, जो पीजीजीएमसी प्रोग्राम था उसको रिवाइज करके पीजीजीएमसी इंडिपेंडेंट डिप्लोमा प्रोग्राम भी है और उसका एमएजीएमसी प्रोग्राम भी लॉन्च हुआ है। और ये प्रोग्राम हिंदी, इंग्लिश, तमिल 3 लैंग्वेज में, और हमारा स्कूल पूरे यूनिवर्सिटी में पहला ऐसा स्कूल है जो तमिल लैंग्वेज में एक इतने हाई लेवल के प्रोफेशनल मास्टर प्रोग्राम को ट्रांसलेट करके नेशनल लेवल पे इसको लॉन्च किया है। आम तौर पे देखेंगे कि भारत में कोई भी ऐसा विश्वविद्यालय नहीं है जो एमए जर्नलिज्म एंड मास कम्युनिकेशन तमिल लैंग्वेज में रन करता हो। इंदिरा गांधी राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विश्वविद्यालय पहला ऐसा विश्वविद्यालय है। और जब से भारत सरकार ने और ख़ास तौर से न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी आने के बाद जो न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी की जो फिलॉसफी है उसको ध्यान में रखते हुए इग्नू ने, हमारे स्कूल ने काफ़ी काम किया, और इसी संकल्पना के साथ हम लोगों ने भारतीय भाषाओं पर काम करना शुरू किया। और उसका प्रतिफल ये हुआ कि जितने हमारे प्रोग्राम हैं वो ख़ास तौर से पीजी डिप्लोमा जर्नलिज्म एंड मास कम्युनिकेशन, एमए जर्नलिज्म एंड मास कम्युनिकेशन, ये दोनों प्रोग्राम इंग्लिश, हिंदी और तमिल वर्जन में छात्रों के समक्ष हैं। और कोई भी छात्र राष्ट्रीय अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर इसको ले सकता है एडमिशन, क्योंकि ये ओडीएल में तो मान लीजिए एक नेशनल लेवल का एक इशू है कि अगर आप भारत में तभी ले सकते हैं, लेकिन ये सारे प्रोग्राम, दोनों प्रोग्राम ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म पे भी अवेलेबल हैं। तो जो स्टूडेंट चाहे तमिल के हों, अगर ग्लोबल लेवल पे भी हैं तो ये ऑनलाइन एडमिशन ले सकते हैं। अगर इंडिया के बाहर हैं तो एक उनके लिए है। उसी तरह से हिंदी और इंग्लिश का है, ये भी प्रोग्राम तीनों वर्जन में ऑनलाइन और ओडीएल दोनों प्लेटफॉर्म पे अवेलेबल है। इसके साथ ही जितने प्रोग्राम हैं, अब हम लोग बातचीत करेंगे सर कि अगर जो स्टूडेंट हमारे डिप्लोमा और मास्टर्स प्रोग्राम में एडमिशन ले लिए हैं उनके सामने एक अब सेकेंड स्टेप आता है कि उनको असाइनमेंट कैसे करना है। तो असाइनमेंट के लिए हम लोगों ने जो प्रोग्राम गाइड है उसमें डिटेल दिए हुए हैं कि आपको असाइनमेंट कैसे करना है, कब तक करना है, कहाँ सबमिट करना, कैसे सबमिट करना। इसके अलावा जो असाइनमेंट अपलोड है हमारे प्लेटफॉर्म पर, वेबसाइट पर, आप देखेंगे कि पहला जो पेज है स्टूडेंट के लिए उसमें सारी गाइडलाइन हम लोगों ने दी हुई है। और ये आपके जैसे ही आप असाइनमेंट पोर्टल पर जाएंगे और उसको ओपन करेंगे तो पहला जो पेज है उसमें आपको गाइडलाइन दी गई है असाइनमेंट से रिलेटेड। जो भी छात्र हम लोगों को सुन पा रहे हैं और असाइनमेंट को लेकर के अगर उनके मन में कोई सवाल है या कोई कन्फ्यूजन है तो उनके लिए हम लोग बताना चाहेंगे कि पहले जैसे हम एग्जांपल दे रहे हैं पीजी डिप्लोमा इन डेवलपमेंट कम्युनिकेशन का, इग्नू का जो फॉर्मेट है, मान लीजिए आप ये डिप्लोमा प्रोग्राम आप कर रहे हैं, 36 क्रेडिट का डिप्लोमा प्रोग्राम है। यह 2 पार्ट में डिवाइडेड है। आपका जो टर्म एंड एग्ज़ाम होगा, जो थ्योरेटिकल एग्ज़ाम होगा, वो 70% का उसका वेटेज होगा, और जो 30% है वो 30% का आपका असाइनमेंट होगा। दोनों की मार्किंग होगी अलग अलग, और उसके पास आपके बाद 100% के ग्राउंड पर इसका रिजल्ट आउट होगा। तो ये जो इग्नू के असेसमेंट प्रोसेस है छात्र, ये आपके लर्निंग का, वो 2 एरिया में डिवाइड है, एक थ्योरेटिकल एग्ज़ाम और दूसरा आपका असाइनमेंट। असाइनमेंट का जो फॉर्मेट है या जो असाइनमेंट की फ़िलासफ़ी वो ये है कि अगर कोई कोर्स आपने एडमिशन लिया और आपने कोर्स को पढ़ना शुरू किया, आप रीडिंग शुरू की लर्निंग मटेरियल का, तो एग्जाम्पल के लिए जैसे MDC 1 है, अगर आपने पढ़ा तो उसको आपने कितना समझा, कैसे समझा, उसी के ग्राउंड पे आपको एक 30% का असाइनमेंट करना है। और वो असाइनमेंट के जो क्वेश्चन हैं आपके उसी कोर्स में से हैं, और यह इस माध्यम से टीचर इस बात को चेक करते हैं कि आपने जिस कोर्स को पढ़ा उस कोर्स में आपकी समझदारी कितनी विकसित हुई, उस कोर्स को आपने कैसे समझा, कितना समझा, कहाँ तक समझा। इसी का आपको 5 सवाल का उत्तर देना पड़ता है और वो असाइनमेंट का इंडिपेंडेंट मार्किंग होती है और जो आपके मेन एग्जाम के साथ इसको कोरिलेट करके उसको रिजल्ट देते हैं। अब अगर आप असाइनमेंट कर रहे हैं तो आपको किन बातों का ध्यान रखना चाहिए। अगर असाइनमेंट कर रहे हैं तो आपको इस तरह से असाइनमेंट का एक कवर पेज होता है। कवर पेज पर आपको अपना नाम, एनरोलमेंट नंबर, एड्रेस, असाइनमेंट का कोड, स्टडी सेंटर और स्टडी सेंटर का कोड, ये सब मेंशन करना पड़ता है। और ये जब असाइनमेंट आप कर लेते हैं तो इस असाइनमेंट को जो आपका कंसर्न या जो स्टडी सेंटर होगा वहाँ पर जो कोऑर्डिनेटर होगा उसको आपको सबमिट करना होता है। और सबमिट करते समय आपको ध्यान रखना कि असाइनमेंट की एक कॉपी आपको अपने पास रखनी है और वो असाइनमेंट वहाँ से फिर इवैल्यूएट होकर के हमारा जो स्टूडेंट इवैल्यूएशन डिवीज़न है ये वहाँ आता है और इवैल्यूएशन डिवीज़न उसको अपडेट करता है। तो ये प्रोसेस है इसका। और असाइनमेंट करने से पहले आप जिस कोर्स का असाइनमेंट कर रहे हैं उस कोर्स को आप पढ़ें और पढ़ने के बाद उस असाइनमेंट को कंप्लीट करें। और असाइनमेंट करते समय आप जैसे स्टडी मटेरियल अगर आपको मिला है तो एक तो है कि स्टडी मटेरियल को आप पढ़ें, दूसरा हमारा जो टेली कॉन्फ्रेंसिंग होता है जैसे अभी हम लोग ज्ञान दर्शन के माध्यम से टीसी कर रहे हैं, इसको सुनते रहें या इसके जो वीडियो अवेलेबल हैं उसको आप देखें एक बार, उसको समझें और उसके बाद हम लोगों को ज्ञान दर्शन के माध्यम से जो ज्ञानवाणी है, ज्ञान दर्शन और रेडियो के माध्यम से ज्ञानवाणी को भी सुनते रहें क्योंकि ये दोनों मीडियम हैं जिसके माध्यम से छात्रों के साथ हमारे फैकल्टी मेंबर, काउंसलर और बाकी लोग इंटरेक्ट करते हैं। तो आपके पास एक हो गया स्टडी मटेरियल पढ़ने के लिए, दूसरा वीडियो कॉन्फ्रेंसिंग जो हो रही है हमारा ज्ञान दर्शन के माध्यम से, इसको आपको देखना है। तीसरा ज्ञानवाणी है, ज्ञानवाणी से हमारे जो प्रोग्राम होते हैं, जो इंटरेक्टिव रेडियो प्रोग्राम होता है IRC, उसको आपको सुनना है। और कोर्स मटेरियल, वीडियो प्रोग्राम, ऑडियो प्रोग्राम सुन करके फिर आपको असाइनमेंट तैयार करने हैं। अगर इसके बावजूद भी कोई सवाल है तो हम लोग अवेलेबल हैं, टेलीफोन के माध्यम से, मेल के माध्यम से आप पूछ सकते हैं। लेकिन एक बात और कि असाइनमेंट बनाते समय एक चीज़ का ध्यान रखना है कि आपको ओरिजिनल राइटिंग में असाइनमेंट करना है और उसको सबमिट करना है। और ये टाइप मटेरियल हम लोग एक्सेप्ट नहीं करते हैं, उसके पीछे बहुत सारे रीज़न हैं, तो इन सबों को ध्यान रखना है। और बाकी मैं प्रोफेसर KS अरुलसेल्वन सर से भी रिक्वेस्ट करूँगा कि जो पॉइंट हमसे मिसिंग हैं या जिन पॉइंट को मैं अभी डिस्कस नहीं कर पाया हूँ असाइनमेंट के पर्सपेक्टिव में, उस पर प्रोफेसर KS अरुलसेल्वन भी कुछ ऐड करें।
Right. Actually, the role of assignment, role of exam, the students needs to understand these two components. Exam and assignments, these are the instruments of evaluation. Evaluation, the philosophy of evaluation is, we have written the materials are produced, books are issued in a soft copy or in a printed copy. There are a lot of teleconferences happening, or Jnanwani lectures are happening, or recorded videos are available. So as a student, each course we have assigned certain number of credits. You are expected to spend 30 hours per credit. This is a university standard policy framework. You have to follow that rule. So accordingly, materials are given, other multimedia materials are given, and you have to spend the time on that. And once you spend the time with our materials, means you have learned, you have interacted with the content, went through the study centers, attended the counseling sessions, and whatever the units we have given, you have gone through that. And in each unit, we have given a lot of check your progress, that also you have done that. So each credit 30 hours, so 4 credit means 120 hours minimum. You have spent time with a particular course. You have done that. Whether you have done properly or not, how do we judge that? For that only the evaluation process, assignments and term and exam. Assignments, the purpose of assignment is the open book format. You are not going to any exam center. Materials are already provided, and the regular TC we are doing, and a lot of recorded videos and online materials, everything is available. and the questions are being given in the assignments. Our assignments are uploaded in the university website. So everything is available with you. Books are available, materials are available, assignments are available. Now you have gone through the material systematically. We have asked the questions, and based on the reference, you are free to refer the books. You are free to refer any literature associated with that, and clearly, as per the requirement of assignments, you have to put your points clearly. And primarily, this is there are two benefits in assignments. One, you will get a 30% of your marks. Each course carry a certain weightage, credit weightage, and according to the credit weightage, the grade is being given or marks are given. If you take the 100 marks paper, 6 credit or 8 credit course, or 4 credit means 50 marks, and 70% of the marks comes from your term and exam. That happens in June and December. And 30% of your marks comes from the assignments. So you can easily score 30% with your own convenience as per your schedule, and you can prepare it on your own in your your home settings or office, wherever you are there. So you don't have to go for any exam hall. There is no time restriction. Of course, submission deadline is different, as mentioned by my colleague, and now the deadline is extended up to April 30th. You have to give your handwritten copies of your assignments to your study center, and make sure that you keep a copy of that submitted assignments with you. Either you can keep the soft copy, a scanned copy of the materials, or you can take a photocopy and keep it with you. There are multiple benefits. One, and in case of further references required, you can use the same prepared assignments, because you have went through the material and based on the questions you have prepared that. So certain portions it will remember your mind because you are writing on your own materials. So that also is possible. For any other administrative reasons, if any requirement, you can already have a copy, so you can reproduce a copy. So that is also multiple benefits of having keeping a copy of that assignments with you. Then once you submit the assignments, always make sure that you're getting a receipt, because tomorrow you can track that one. So these are the basic administrative points related to preparation of assignments. And one point I think you need to know, I mentioned about that materials are systematically designed. All the units, you have a standard format, introduction, then core content, check your progress, summary, and further reading and all. You have to use those materials appropriately. Two suggestions I can give it to you while preparing your assignments. One, see, this is the open university system. Here your learning is happening through the materials provided to you, along with the counseling sessions like a TC or study centers. Here the role of in the educational teaching learning process of ODL, students' role is very, very important. You need to have you have to commit a certain number of times, 30 hours I mentioned for the each credits. So for example, one course you need to spend 120 hours. So in the normal university setup for our program, our master's level diploma program, once you take in enrollment in January, and you are expected to write a first exam in December. So after 12 months, you are writing an exam. In between, you roughly can say 10 months are in your availability. 5 courses or 6 courses, you have to put a very defined schedule. In a week, this many number of courses I'll complete, this many number of blocks, or this many number of units. Consistently, you have to spend your time. If you're not able to complete 4 or 5 units in a week, at least you have to complete 1. You have to keep pace without any break. Once you, whatever reasons, once you give a break, if you take a break between this preparation, then it might take a very long time to come back. Of course, there are a lot of commitments in our life, official, personal and all, but somehow you have to take some time out of your busy schedule to spend time with you have taken a decision out of interest, you have took admission. For whatever reasons, you have taken admission. We are expecting you that you have to spend time on that. The teaching learning process may not be very rigorous as like a conventional university. Flexibility, convenience, These two are important characteristics of IGNOU, because we are taking education to your doorstep. So you have to use that facility. Of course, university is flexible, and whatever the duration of the program, and we give double the time of that period in order to complete the program. We know all the inadequacies and barriers and all. For example, master degree is 2 years. You can complete the master degree in 4 years time. But it can be done within 2 years. It can be done in 3 years. It can be done in 4 years. You have to schedule your activities accordingly. If it's heavily loaded with other commitments, so instead of taking 6 courses, like MIJMC, we have 6 courses in a first year, 2 practicals. You can take 3 in 1 year and another 3 in next cycle. Like that, you can continue your activities clearly. But while preparing assignments, make sure that read the questions carefully. What is being expected, go to that point clearly. And always, before writing assignments in a rough sheet, write your points. These are the points I'm going to cover, and rearrange the points. Sometimes the points needs to be put in a second level, a third level. So first identify the points and rearrange the points based on the logical presentation, and present it in a very creative manner. You should enjoy while preparing your assignments. The way you have to enjoy the writing. Similarly, you have to enjoy preparing assignments. You have to, with a lot of enthusiasm, you have to read and put all your effort, energy in preparing the assignments. Because this is not for the degree sake you are doing, because all the knowledge and learning you are acquiring, and also benefit is your career be enhanced. Remember that.
जी, जो स्टूडेंट यहाँ पर पीजी डिप्लोमा इन डेवलपमेंट कम्युनिकेशन के हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं, उनके लिए जो पीजी डिप्लोमा का असाइनमेंट है वो 6 असाइनमेंट करने हैं। EMDC 001, EMDC 002, EMDC 003, EMDC 004, EMDC 005, EMDC E006। ये 6 हैं पीजी डिप्लोमा इन डेवलपमेंट कम्युनिकेशन में। और उसी तरह से आपका पीजी MA इन डेवलपमेंट जर्नलिज्म भी आपका 6 असाइनमेंट है, जो फर्स्ट ईयर है उसका, उसमें। तो ये 2 असाइनमेंट आपको पीजी डिप्लोमा इन डेवलपमेंट कम्युनिकेशन में और 6 असाइनमेंट MA इन डेवलपमेंट जर्नलिज्म में आपको करने हैं। उसी तरह से जैसा प्रोफेसर KS अरुल सेल्वन जी ने बताया, पीजी डिप्लोमा इन डिजिटल मीडिया और MA जर्नलिज्म इन डिजिटल मीडिया, इन सब में आपको असाइनमेंट करने हैं। और जो जून में एग्ज़ाम देने जा रहे हैं उनका असाइनमेंट 31 मार्च, जैसा कि रेगुलर डेट होता है, अभी एक्सटेंड होकर के अप्रैल तक चला गया है, कर लेना है। और जो दिसंबर के एग्ज़ाम में जाएंगे उनके लिए 31 सितंबर डेट होता है। तो ये 2 डेट को आप फॉलो कीजिएगा। और असाइनमेंट से रिलेटेड जितनी इन्फॉर्मेशन है, इस सारे हमारे वेबसाइट पर अवेलेबल हैं। प्लस टाइम टू टाइम जो भी नोटिफिकेशन आते हैं वो भी इग्नू के वेबसाइट पर होते हैं। आप इग्नू के वेबसाइट को ज़रूर फॉलो करें, उसको देखें, और वहाँ से जो भी इन्फॉर्मेशन आते हैं आपसे रिलेटेड उसको देखें। इसके बाद समय समय पर स्कूल की फैकल्टी, हम सब लोग आपके लिए अवेलेबल हैं। इंटरेक्टिव रेडियो प्रोग्राम IRC के माध्यम से, और दूसरा ज्ञान दर्शन के माध्यम से, जैसे हम लोग आज बातचीत कर रहे हैं TC के माध्यम से। और हमारा एक इंटरनेट चैनल भी है ज्ञान धारा, वहाँ भी हम लोग इंटरेक्टिव प्रोग्राम करते हैं। तो ये 3 मीडियम है। इसके अलावा लर्निंग मटेरियल आपको अवेलेबल होते हैं। काउंसलर आप हमारे होते हैं हर सेंटर पर और रीजनल सर्विसेज में। तो आज का समय हम लोगों का यहाँ समाप्त होता है, और नेक्स्ट टाइम जब भी हम लोग मिलेंगे फिर असाइनमेंट से रिलेटेड जो भी समस्याएं होंगी उस पर बातचीत करेंगे, और इस संबंधित जो भी सूचनाएं होंगी हम आपके साथ साझा करेंगे। आज का दिन समाप्त हो रहा है। जो भी दर्शक हम लोगों के साथ जुड़े थे, आप सबके प्रति बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, शुभकामनाएं।